This is Evansville Sports 360, and today we're at Bosse Field. We're interviewing the new manager for the Empire State Rays, Gil Rondon. Gil, it is a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Wayne, very much.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your baseball journey. You were drafted, I think, in the 70s.
It all started, my dad played baseball, my uncle played baseball in the major leagues, and Mom says the first thing I did when I was brought over when I was born is throw my leg in my arm. So it's been in my blood since I was born, this game.
Now, how long were you in the minor leagues? And then I know you played a little in the majors.
I played all the leagues you played in as a kid. I got drafted out of high school. I was drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the third round in the winter draft. And my first year was in Bluefield, West Virginia in 1973. And in 1974, I was in Miami Orioles in the old Bobby Maduro Stadium. And then from there, I got released, and that's how my career started.
And that transitioned you into coaching then?
No, from there, okay, I was released. I went to winter ball. I had a real good winter in Puerto Rico with the Santurce Crabbers, and I got drafted by the Houston Astros in Maroon 5. Okay. And then I ended up in the big leagues in '76. I had a little problem in my shoulder, and then I was sent down, and then the Yankees picked me up, which I went to all their tryouts and all their Mets tryouts when I was growing up in New York. And from there, the Yankees drafted me, and I was in AAA with them and in AA, and got enough work in, and then from there they sold me to the Mexican League, 1979. And in 1979, after the Mexican League season, I went back to the White Sox and spent 6 weeks with the White Sox and Mr. Bill Veeck.
Oh man, you talk about a character.
I was there a week before the disco demolition.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is a memorable one. If you're out there and you don't know what that is, you look that up on YouTube. It is a fascinating thing. The night the disco died. So what is your most memorable game as a player from your career?
As an amateur kid in high school, pitching a no-hitter against one of the best schools in New York City system, which was called James Monroe High School. And in professional baseball in Modesto, California, in a small little ballpark that we played a charity game, I pitched a no-hitter for 8 2/3. The ball was hit over this branch. It got stuck there, and they called it a home run.
Oh.
I ended up winning 2-1. And in Puerto Rico, that year they gave me the ball and let me pitch. That day in BP, the starting pitcher that's always back here got hit with a line drive. So when the game was over, Frank Robinson said, "Be ready for tomorrow." So I said, "Okay." So when I got to the ballpark, it was raining all over, raining. And when we went to Ponce, which is on the other side of the island, it's always dry. And the park was a little wet. They were fixing it. I had a little rain delay, and I pitched again another no-hitter for 8 2/3. Then 5 days later, I faced the same team in San Juan at the Bison, and I pitched a no-hitter for 8 1/3.
Oh my gosh.
And from there it all started. And then when I went to, I got re-signed by the California Angels. I played in Salinas, California. I played in El Paso, Texas. And the next year, in '76, I was in the big leagues with the Astros.
Now, when did you finally transition to becoming a coach? And what made you decide you wanted to continue in baseball in that realm?
I've always been a coach because I was an interpreter from my first year in baseball, because the Dominican kids at that time, baseball had one interpreter for 20, 25 kids. Mm-hmm. You'd be on field 5 and they sent for you to field 1 so you could interpret something. And I've always been doing that. I've been an interpreter. And as time went on, I kept playing, and I played a lot of years in Mexico, and then from there, I started picking up, and then in 1989, I came home in New York, and I got a call from Reginald Jackson, Al Jackson's son. He says, "Hey, Buddy Harrelson's looking for you." I said, "Really?"
Buddy Harrelson, yep.
So I said, I showed up to the park, and he says, "You want to throw batting practice?" I'm not going to tell you what I told him. And I said, "Yeah." And then I started throwing batting practice for the Mets in 1989. Then I got a job in Rookie League in Kingsport, Tennessee in 1990. And then in My first year as a batting practice pitcher, I always told the pitching coach, hey, can I follow you? Can I take notes? Any spare things that you have, can I have them? And I started collecting. And the first guy I worked with was Mel Stoudemire.
Okay.
And he gave me some good tips because Mel Stoudemire was a good sinker ball pitcher,
Yep.
good slider, and knew how to get ahead of people.
Smart pitcher.
So I learned how to use that. And then from there, I went to 91, 92. I worked for the Toronto Blue Jays in Medicine Hat. I was a pitching coach there. We did good there. The first year we led the league in ERA, and the second year was different. Then after that, in 93, I worked in Canada. Some guy started a league in Canada where he televised live, and after 2 months, the league went down the drain. And then I had work in the, from there, I went back to working in organized baseball, throwing batting practice in 93 also with the New York, with the Marlins, the Florida Marlins. There, the pitching coach was Marcel Latchman. Marcel was a specialist from down here. So I got next to him and listened to him how to talk to a pitcher if he's from down here. And his brother was the manager, Rene Latchman. And Rene was the manager in A-ball when they hit that home run off of me on the tree. He was the manager of the Modesto A's at that time. So I've always had a good arm, so that's how I started in batting practice. And I kept working here and there, and then in 2005 is when I started really coaching in the Mexican League as a pitching coach. But I had been learning from other people and just asking questions about what this is about, because when it's your turn on that mound, you never find mistakes. But you're not looking at yourself. So when you see people from this side, they, well, you're doing this, you're doing that, you start thinking, how am I doing this and doing that if I don't feel it? So you have to explain it to them, you break it down. And that's one of the things that I have. I have that 15 minutes of fame, I call it, to give you those 15 minutes of fame to talk to you, to make you understand. I make a suggestion, I don't demand. Mm-hmm. When you demand, they look at you and they blow smoke out your ear and you just think they're listening, but they're not. And then each and every one of them, I treat them like a son. I have a personal name with them, a personal relationship. The big difference this year that from having 12 kids, now I got 26 kids. So their parents are the kids for the rest of their life. With me, they're my kids for 3 months. So I have to look out for them, because if you're giving me that confidence to work with your kids, I have to accept that as a parent, so that's what I do.
So how did you end up getting hired for this job? It definitely sounds like you're the right guy based on everything you've said, I'll tell you that.
In this job here, it's very funny. Next Sunday is going to be 1 month they stole my car. I was playing with the old timers, coaching and throwing batting practice and getting shape, because I had been talking to different people for jobs. Mm-hmm. And we finished the game. They went to get a few beers, water, something to eat. And I left my car like between third base and right there, but I could see the front of it and there were little bushes. So he must have saw me going back and forth, because my mother's very ill in Florida. She's in a nursing home. She's going through, she's got dementia. And,
I'm sorry to hear that.
She's haptic palate, you know, she still understands. If I tell her, Ma, I saw Wayne, she'll tell me exactly where she met you, where she talked to you, what she talked to you about. And she'll ask me, how about his wife? How's she doing? You know, that's, you know, but then it goes and comes. So I was just sitting in the car. All of a sudden I said, Reggie, the car's moving. So we chased it, Hollywood style. We chased the car. And when we got to the big light, he noticed that it was, each row had 4 cars. So he went around to the left lane, like you make the left, and jumped in front and took off. And that day I weighed 268. Tuesday, when I went to weigh myself in the morning, I weighed 260. The stress was eating me up, because all my mother's papers, the power of attorney, my driver's license, credit cards, everything was in there. And the only thing he took was a phone that I had and a ring from an all-star game in the Mexican League. Mm. And all he had to do is reach over and put his hand in my bag and take everything. So I had to stop all that. And then on Tuesday, about 1 o'clock, I get a phone call. Mr. Rondon, we found your car. I said, officer, is it in one piece? He said, yeah, it's in one piece. It's over here in this little park close to your house. There's a corner sack. And these 2 gentlemen that walk every morning, they saw it in the morning on, because I had the key. And Sunday, they saw it. Monday, they saw it off. No, they saw it Monday on. And then Tuesday morning when they got up, they saw it off. So they called right away. We came over. I got the car. I took it home, cleaned it up after they did everything on it. And I'm sitting at home about 4 o'clock, and the phone rings. And it's a friend of mine's named Randy Ruiz. I had him in Puerto Rico on our team in Mayagüez. He says, Jonathan Albaradejo's looking for you. Guy that pitched with the Yankees, the big guy. So I called Jonathan up. He says, they're in Fort Myers. He says, hey, man, I'm looking for a manager. I think you could help us. You could do this and that. I said, listen, I don't want to talk no more. I'll be there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So I go to Fort Myers to this Terry ballpark that brought back some memories, because I still, in 1989 and 90, if you remember, they made a senior league in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember. John D'Acquisto was in it.
Yeah, I kept pitching in that, and I asked the Mets for permission. And I kept pitching and pitching, and I did well. And then they offered me a contract, but it was just a AAA. And I said, look, I can't take that because I'm working for the Mets. If you guarantee me to go to the big leagues and you look at me and send me to AAA 3 months, you know, I can make up the difference. No, we can't. So I just left it at that. And that was a thing that it kept me working in baseball and just learning more and learning more. But every time I would run into somebody, I would go, hey, I need this. Then when in 2002, I was with Montreal, the last year with Montreal in spring training. Because Frank Robinson, which I used to call him my black daddy, was my manager in Puerto Rico for 7 years. Mm-hmm. So I said, Frank, you need somebody to throw batting practice. He said, go talk to Tom McGraw. So I talked to Tom, and I'm not going to tell you what I said. He said, you want to throw batting practice? And I just said, yes. And I threw batting practice for the Expos, that spring training in the big leagues, but trying to do everything that I could help out. Mm-hmm. And then when we would go play B games, I would be the first base coach. So there, the pitching coach was Dick, what's his name? Dick Tidrow?
Yeah.
He pitched for the Cubs, another sinker baller.
He was with the Yankees at one point.
But he had a heavy sinker. So I got involved with talking with him. I chased him around to listen. And then I was always with Jerry Morales, an outfielder for the Cubs.
Played with the Padres.
Because Jerry was the outfield instructor, so I would go help him, and then I would throw batting practice. The batting practice pitcher was Jerry Morales, who threw very well. Manny Acta, I became a manager, and myself. And then I finished with them, and there was no job. I thought I was going with them, but they had made their decisions. They had a couple of guys from Canada over there, so I said, good, you know, it was exposure for me. And then I had then I got the job with Milwaukee in Rookie League. And I worked in Helena, Montana for 2 years. And I was there with them. And it was real fun. And then as I got more and more into it, then I started working in Mexico, learning there the game, the way it's played there, the way things happen there. And I started picking up a lot of things there and learning more and more and more and more and more just to get myself out there. And with the story about these guys here, so when I get to Terry Park, I had played in the senior league in that ballpark.
Right.
And we had just come from California the second year, which everybody knew was the wrong thing to do. When we got to the ballpark, all the fans were outside with our home uniform, and in the locker rooms were all our personals. And we got screwed there too. We didn't get paid. The guy had a great dream. He took pictures of all those ex-major leaguers, and he made a lot of money off of that.
Yep.
So that's what happened in Terry Park. I got there, drove 3 hours from Orlando, waited half hour through batting practice, and then Friday, we're at Hooters. I want to give promotion now. And I got to meet the other partner that Eddie has, Matt Joyce.
Okay.
And we started talking. All of a sudden, they just poured a beer everybody, and they said, salute, we're going to name Gil the manager. And that's how I got the managing job. But it was from a very bad day for a day and a half to getting my car back, and I said, well, I just need to win the lotto now. So I did. I won the lotto because the last year I worked was in 2020, and then COVID came, and then that's when my mother started getting, so I had to stay at home. I worked in this program called Windermere Go Pro, which was an academy to teach kids from 8 to 14 years old. I worked there 17 months. But I wanted to come back to baseball, so I was talking to other people, and this opportunity came, and this opportunity really opened the door. So I could do a lot of things in this opportunity.
Well, we really look forward to seeing how you guys are going to do this year. And even though we're Evansville Otter fans, we're going to be cheering for you guys, and I mean that sincerely. I wish you the best of luck in this series, and we look forward when you're coming back. Thank you, Gil, for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity. We
Thank you.
just need to put the little small things together, and we'll play much better. It's just a bunch of kids that are a little nervous, first time in a professional uniform.
It takes time.
But we're going to get the most out of them. So I want to thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you. Evansville Sports 360, signing out.